Yo, chat. Chat, 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 chat. Chat, 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 chat. Yo, chat. Chat, 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 chat. Yeah, it's good, it's very clear. Right, chat. Sorry to break it to you, but I have to do my homework. Just saying it now. I have to do my homework. So, I'm gonna crack on with that. I mean, I could put the Man United game on. I don't support Man United, I hate them. But, not on, like, just the thing. Does this sound good? Wait.
Over the back of Mitchell there, but the referee happy with what he saw now. Wan-Bissaka.
See if it sounds good. Wait. I just want to test something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sounds great, yeah. Okay, chat. Man United 3 now. It's half time, anyways.
And the good news is, there's no wrong answer.
We want to know what you think because the BBC belongs to all of us. To have your say, look out for an email or visit bbc.co.uk/rbbc Our Future.
This is 5 Live Sports
with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Goal at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League, Chris Coles.
It's another for Brentford. Forest Champions League ambitions being severely dented tonight. It's such an uncharacteristic goal for them to concede. Johan Visser has it, gets the wrong side of Milenkovic, dinks it beautifully over the on-rushing Matt Sells. Brentford still have hope of sweeping up the minor European places, and this scoreline does them the world of good in that regard. 19 minutes to play, Forest 0, Brentford 2.
So we'll be back to the live football shortly. We're going to talk rugby league now. Catalan Dragons star halfback Luke Keary has made some really dramatic comments about the state of Super League. He was talking to Australian media and he called the competition horrendous and unwatchable. He said, I'll go on the record saying it's in such a bad way. The game is horrendous. The product, the coverage, the news around the game, there is zero. Bit of context, reports in Australia have suggested that their National Rugby League, NRL, want to buy a significant stake in Super League. On that, Keary said if the NRL don't buy Super League, they're in a lot of trouble. All the players are open to it. That's what he had to say. Let's speak to the Managing Director of Rugby League Commercial, Rhodri Jones. Rhodri, thank you for speaking to us. There's a lot to take in there. What's your reaction?
If you're wondering, it's not playing.
Evening, Steve.
It's just because it's half time, guys.
Yeah, they were dramatic. Certainly, when I woke up this morning and saw them, they were certainly dramatic. Luke's clearly entitled to his own opinion. I'm not necessarily in agreement with what he's got to say. You know, from our perspective, you know, our figures are showing that we're having a very positive season. You know, our attendances are up, our TV audiences both across Sky Sports and BBC are up. And probably there's a little bit of Luke being in France. He might be a little bit out of the mainstream somewhat in terms of seeing the positivity for the game here in the UK. But he'll get a real feel for that this coming weekend with Magic Weekend up in the northeast at St James's Park, where he'll play in front of 65,000 people on Saturday against Lee Leopards.
Damaging comments?
I think, honest from a person who's been involved in the competition for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, I would say. I think, I recognise Luke has played at the very top of the game in Australia. And the game in Australia is very much akin to the Premier League over here. And that Sydney bubble, it's non-stop media, it's front page, back page. And that's what he's used to. But, I'd maintain that we're heading in the right direction. We are working with the NRL. You saw us in Las Vegas earlier in the season with Wigan and Warrington. The Ashes are coming here in the autumn with 2 sellout crowds at Everton and Headingley, with Wembley over 30,000 tickets sold. And again, we've got Magic Weekend this weekend, which is raising the profile of the competition in this country. And he'll also be involved in a sellout next weekend in a Challenge Cup semi-final against Hull KR. So, I think maybe over the next week or so, Luke might have a different opinion on Super League.
Genuine question, Rodri. Do you feel as measured as you sound about this? Because you do sound very measured.
Thank you. Look, I was surprised. I was surprised by what he had to say. I did speak to his club this morning, and they too were surprised. I think they would be disappointed perhaps with how dramatic his comments were, especially with, I know Mark had Steve McNamara on Monday night, and Steve, was talking positively about French teams in Super League and what they bring to the competition, and I guess that smacks in the face a little bit of what Steve was saying on Monday night. So, it's disappointing. I actually saw and met Luke for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and he asked me about the NRL, and I gave him a very honest answer, which was, we are talking. We've got a positive working relationship with them. Vegas and Ashes being 2 examples. There's a lot of ongoing dialogue with the NRL, but there's also a lot of media speculation in both hemispheres. So at this point in time, it's who knows what the future could look like. It's interesting, and no doubt we'll probably bump into each other over the weekend as well.
So one of the things I found really interesting there, Rodri, is from what I've read, and obviously I'm happy for you to tell me this isn't the case, but from what I've read, when it comes to potential NRL investment, they are very keen on the inclusion of French teams like Catalan. So if that is the case, does that make these comments an issue for you from that perspective? Because not everybody in the sport might take them in as measured a way as you have.
I can see that. I think to answer the first part, from what I'm reading as well, and you and I probably reading the same things, it feels like if the NRL are to get involved in the Super League competition, that it would have a French influence to the competition. Which, look, I think the Dragons have been a positive news story narrative over the last 19 years in the Super League competition. It's just the economics of their inclusion is the question at the moment, and that needs to be further discussed. It is the honest kind of position on the Dragons. Like I say, Steve, I come back to Luke's he's been in the competition for 9 rounds. He's been in France, out of the mainstream. Look, I think we can do a lot of things that can convince him that perhaps he's been a bit overdramatic in his comments.
Rodri, thank you so much for talking to us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
That's Rodri Jones, the Managing Director of Rugby League Commercial. One of the sports story in cricket, 3 days after his record-breaking century in the IPL, 14-year-old Viabhav Suryavanshi out for a 2-ball duck, ready to go in Bilbao. Ian, all yours.
Second half underway. Manchester United lead by 3-0 against the 10 men of Athletic Bilbao. And they've made another change, have Athletic Bilbao. Prados, the midfielder, has come on for the Galarreta in the midfield. So Aguirre Zabala is in goal. Garasabel, Yere, Paredes and Pachiche is how they line up defensively now. In the midfield you've got Harry Geetha and Prados, with Inaki Williams and Nico Williams and Sanade through the middle. And they're in their red and white striped shirts and black shorts against the Manchester United side that are leading through 2 goals from Bruno Fernandes, 1 from the penalty spot after Casemiro's header gave them the lead. on the half hour. So they scored 3 goals in about a 15-minute period, and they almost got a fourth through Mazraoui, who hit the crossbar in first half injury time. Onana is in goal, a back three of Yoro, Maguire, Lindelof, Mazraoui, Dorgu, Casemiro, Ugarte, Garnacho, Fernandes and Højlund. 3-0, and in the dream scenario for Amorim.
They're in full control at the moment, Manchester United, looking at the changes that Athletic Bilbao have made. They're coming out now, and they're in a clear 4-4-1 formation. Inaki Williams on the right and Nico Williams on the left will be the ones charged with joining Sonadi as a striker. Defensively, they cannot afford to concede. Manchester United are in an extremely good, strong position in this game.
A reminder, a choice of listening on Sports Extra. We have commentary of the other semi-final, where Tottenham Hotspur are leading Bodo Glimt by 2-0. In the Premier League, Brentford lead Nottingham Forest 1-0. Chelsea are 2-0 up at Djurgården in the UEFA Conference League semi-final. So that's on Sports Extra if you want the game in North London. And both semi-finals second legs will be covered next Thursday as well. Once we see how the land lies after the 90 minutes tonight, will the bosses decide which goes on 5 Live next Thursday, and then the other one on Sports Extra. 24 hours after we'll be live in Paris next Wednesday for the return leg of Paris Saint-Germain against Arsenal. But before that, a whole host of commentaries to bring you the weekend in the Premier League. Brentford's Manchester United game, incidentally, at 2 o'clock will be on Sports Extra this coming Sunday. We're also joined tonight on Radio Manchester, and those travelling supporters, 2,600 of them, high up in the gods behind the mesh netting in that far corner, watching on, will be thinking, what a scoreline this is. The best defensive side in La Liga have seen that back line breached 3 times. Even Ruben Amorim was saying yesterday about that, how they struggle to score goals, or they have, maybe in the Premier League, not necessarily in the last 4 matches in the knockout stages. They've added another 3 to their tally.
You look at Manchester United's recent record scoring goals against, what you say, the best defence in the league. They've only conceded 26 goals in 33 games. It's an incredible defensive performance. And that combination of Manchester United being unable to score against that defence, you thought, all that added together, as well as what a good side they are, Athletic Bilbao, what a tough task it was for Manchester United.
Very much so. They only conceded 2 in the 6 previous home games in this competition, where they've scored 14 and have won all 6. And Nico Williams being challenged, snapping at the heels there was Lindelof. The ball goes out of play. They did have their moments in the first half, but Manchester United just seized the initiative, and then obviously that sending off not helping the cause for Athletic Bilbao, who've only suffered 1 defeat in 8 previous home games against English opposition. That was against Liverpool in 1983 when Ian Rush scored the only goal. That was probably when they had Goitia, wasn't it? The butcher of Bilbao, that tough tackling, no-nonsense defender, if memory serves me right. But 5 minutes into the second half, and Manchester United have been carving up Bilbao here, 3-0.
It's a concentration exercise as well for Manchester United. They are going to dominate the possession in the second half, and individual errors they can't let creep into the game. Athletic Bilbao are going to have a go, they're going to take their opportunities, but Manchester United can use that to their advantage and try and exploit the spaces that they leave in behind them with only 10 men on the field.
Ball is played out, the referee again gets in the way. That's the second time that the referee has got in the way tonight. Unfortunate really as he runs his lines, but again he's absolutely berated by the Athletic Bilbao supporters. Nico Williams runs forward almost a 3rd time. Don't think he actually helped there for a stumbling Berchiche, as then the ball is passed out wide towards that far side. They're looking for just something to cling on to. They had hopes for their 3rd European semi-final, like the previous 2 in the late 70s when they reached the final in the UEFA Cup in 76, 77, and more recently in the Europa League in 2012, of winning those 2 previous semi-finals. But the added significance of it being played in this stadium, but those dreams lay in tatters at the moment. 3-0. Garnacho forward for Manchester United, right-hand side, strikes the heels of Berchiche, and out for a Manchester United throw on the right. 3-0 they lead.
Defensively, they're going to have to be solid, Athletic Bilbao. and as soon as Manchester United have the possession, those two banks of four, they drop very deep and allow Manchester United comfortable possession in front of those red and white shirts. What Manchester United have to do, listen, they've got an opportunity tonight to finish this tie. They really have. If they haven't done it already with 3 goals, if they can go on now against 10 men and get 4, potentially more, that puts the tie to bed and it's job done. And they've got a real opportunity to do that tonight. But the one most important thing is they keep that 0 next to their name.
Just for clarification, I hadn't updated my crib sheet at half-time. Brentford lead Nottingham Forest 2-0, of course, at the City Ground, and that is a serious setback for Nottingham Forest Champions League aspirations in their attempt to get back into the top 5. Lindelof strokes the ball towards Maguire, comes onto it as a gentle pace as he ambles his way forward. Yoro then back towards Maguire. They played with an intensity at the start. They were keen to press Manchester United. They did actually win the ball on a couple of occasions, but they're a little more reluctant to go forward now with that same levels of desire, as therefore Manchester United are not coming under any pressure at the back. And Casemiro out towards Dorgu. The return ball by Bruno Fernandes. He fires it in. Garnacho, was he fouled? He almost said, as he appeals to the referee. Again, as he and Højlund try and get onto that low ball in from the left-hand side, why would Garnacho go to ground in that instance? It's a similar situation for Højlund in the first half where a penalty was awarded.
It's not a similar situation, it's a carbon copy. This time it's from the other side, it's Dorgu. Plays the ball across the 6-yard box. Garnacho gets in front of his marker. There looks to be a little bit of contact, but the referee's not interested this time. Garnacho, to be fair, he was a fair way off the ball. Good ball in by Dorgu, but again, almost a carbon copy, and that's what Manchester United have to do. The turnover possession, get Dorgu in those wide areas, crosses in the box, along the floor, what's been so dangerous for them. They are in complete control, Manchester United. They have to stay this way for the rest of the game.
Athletic Bilbao have got the dilemma though, haven't they? They need to try and get something to give themselves a foothold or a toe back into this game, but they can't concede another one.
Well, you look at where they are now. What are they, 15 yards outside their own box, the back 4. Manchester United have got comfortable possession on the halfway line. 2 banks of 4, so you can see clearly from high up here in our elevated position in the main stand, looking down on what looks like a Sabutio pitch at times. The view is excellent. There's 2 banks of 4, red and white shirts. And Sanadi, the striker, he cuts a very lonely figure, running from side to side, chasing lost causes.
Here is Lindelof as he steps forward. Just slips it into the path of Højlund. Fernandes to Ugarte, chip forward. Mazraoui wins it back, plays it out towards Garnacho, right-hand side. Mazraoui still there. Garnacho, though, running away from the right corner of the penalty area. Manchester United in their dark blue shirts and grey shorts, playing from left to right as we look. Maguire back with Lindelof on the halfway line. And Lindelof coming forward now. Back then with Maguire, but there's no pressure on that back line. Casemiro, who got the first goal, just drops into the centre circle, takes it off Maguire, out towards Garnacho, and then tried to link up with Ugarte. The move breaks down and Garnacho tries to go in pursuit of the ball, and there was Julian Aguirre-Zabala, the goalkeeper, all in orange, who comes out and smothers. And he has the ball and he waits for those red and white striped shirts to push on downfield as they trail 3-0 10 minutes into the second period.
There's no pressure on the Manchester United defence when they have the ball. As soon as Athletic Bilbao lose the ball, they drop deep into that shape. Like I said, Harry Maguire, Yoro and Lindelof, they can recycle the ball around at the back for as long as they like. Bilbao are not going to press until they hit that line of midfielders, which is quite deep in their own half.
Bilbao was awarded the Europa League final after as the venue was replaced by Seville when they were withdrawn by UEFA for to be a host city for Euro 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. And after doing so well in the league phase, I think many would have thought what a scenario it would be to be playing in a European final in your home ground. Not so. Not unless something dramatic happens.
They're stunned, aren't they, the supporters? They're really stunned around us. I mean, there's a section over to our left-hand side trying to get the singing going. But I said to you at half-time, I said I wouldn't be surprised if a few of these leave the way that the team played in the first half and how frustrated they were. But you've got to give them so much credit. There's not an empty seat to be had. The stadium's absolutely full. Granted, the moods change very quickly.
could change again if Manchester United were to add another goal. As Garnacho passes the ball forward to the feet of Mazraoui, looks to try and turn, plays the ball in field. Ugarte, it was a nice turn, just slightly behind Bruno Fernandes, move breaks down. Picked up by Naki Williams over on that far side, the right. Looks for the run of Sonardi, who strikes off Harry Maguire. And then the referee says no free kick, where I thought Sonardi, it involved in a bit of a tussle with Harry Maguire, got goal side, and much to the bemusement, bewilderment, the decision didn't go in favour of the Athletic Bilbao player, and the supporters are incandescent with rage.
It's carnage. It's absolute carnage. Everyone to a person is off the seat waving their arms. White handkerchiefs are getting waved at the referee. The game's now stopped and the Athletic Bilbao players surround the referee and ask about that decision. Sonardi got goal side of Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire looked at one point like he was going to get outpaced. He muscled Sonardi off the ball, who did go to ground quite easily. But in that instance, if the referee gives a free kick against Maguire, he's then got to send him off because he's the last man. The white handkerchiefs, white pieces of paper, they're all over the place.
They formed a mosaic when the teams came out. They're now turning around those placards and they're showing the white, so you've got white bits of paper as well as the handkerchiefs that are being waved in direction of the referee, who is now only fueling the fire as he comes across and shows a yellow card to a member on the bench of the Athletic Bilbao coaching staff down below. I've got to say, I thought it was a foul. Play meanwhile continues.
Right, I am done.
And Inaki Williams holds off the challenge of Hoyland, but still they are angry.
That's an understatement. I think if I was that referee, I'd be waiting for the stadium to clear before I even left. Probably until tomorrow morning, the way that things are at the moment. I mean, let's get to see it again on the replay now. There's a coming together, there's a tussle between them, and it does look like Maguire catches Sonardi. He's very unlucky not to get a free kick there, the Athletic Bilbao striker.
Amidst the din, the instruction from the studio, an update from Tottenham. Alistair Bruce ball.
9 minutes played in the second half. Slightly stilted, soporific start by Tottenham. They lead 2-0, but not the same intensity or noise. Fans are trying to lift them now. They've had a couple of corners, not been able to do anything with them. Comfortable at the moment, though. They lead Bodo Glimt 2-0.
Certainly, soporific is not a word that you would use in...
Alright, chat, what should we play then? What should we play? Play BeamNG Drive. Chat, what I should play. Got Call of Duty, Black Ops 6. Destiny. So chat, my mum called. What's this? Vroom, vroom. Right, chat. I have to go now. But I'll see you later. Might stream tomorrow. Yeah, so might stream tomorrow.